Hello, welcome to the Well-Being. I'm Melissa Laborsky, MD. Today, I'm called to share with you the wisdom and messages that come from our earth plane as it relates to the fairies, as it relates to the Celtic wisdom, nature, and Chinese five-element theory. So we'll see how that wants to all integrate and weave together. The space that I'm in right now within the Well of Being, you'll see a full tour of it at the end of this video. I call it my Celtic Fairy Treehouse Room. So it brings in the element. Literally, there are trees carved into the back walls, and there are boughs, pine needles, and there are images all over the place of fairies, and actually pictures that I took during a 3-week trip into southwestern England and to Cornwall. So definitely for myself, that was a time that I was developing a deep connection with the fairy realm and the earth plane while I was gallivanting about in the forest. So I really am going to start with just allowing channeling to come through because I'm feeling it really strongly, and I know the wisdom and messages will come through as well. So the fairy kingdom, fairy queendom, they are the keepers of the natural realm. So as we visually experience it now, but across space and time, both backwards and forwards. So there's this very deep connection with the ancient wisdom of the earth, and especially how it connects into cycles. And through connecting into the earth and its cycles and tapping into the fairy magic, it will allow us to root in a lot of what we've been talking about is the expansion. The expansion spiritually is happening here on earth. So when we talk about it making us more open and connected to energies and messages, yes, that's true from other planetary realms, other dimensions across space and time, but it's also true right here on earth. So it was really important. I was really feeling guided to root in today into the earth plane and just remind all of us that we are earthbound beings and we are being guided to tune in deeply to the messages and the wisdom of earth, because she's been expanding through this process with us. So there's much that earth, nature, fairies, ancient wisdoms have to share with us that will support us in our own processing, because this is about us doing this in a very grounded, earthed, embodied way. Again, but coming from this place of being so much more open and recognizing that we have all this incredible support, like literally Mother Earth, right? We are held and nurtured and supported, and fairies are all around us. Just because you can't see them doesn't mean they're not there. So part of the openings and expansions we've been opening into are, how can you feel that? How are you tuning into that? How are you seeing through the different signs that might show up to you in nature? Sandhya Danya Tukotanya Rati. So this is about us building this greater state of harmony, alignment with nature and earth, not about transcending it. Not about transcending it. So as we become more and more aware that yes, we're starseed beings, we have this connection to so much beyond this planetary realm, we have chosen to embody here. So this reflection and these channeled messages are really about supporting your relationship and connection with the earth plane. Very simply, connecting into nature through getting outside. I know it's really cold where I'm at right now, but being outside and doing so in such a way where you really allow your intuitive self to be the one who's guiding you as much as possible. So sometimes we may take phone calls and do work while we're walking or be talking to other people, and though we can still integrate and weave in, it really is necessary for us to intentionally take the time to just fully be present in nature and build a relationship and build a connection with our awareness. So especially if you live in a place that has, every place is experiencing seasons and it does so in different ways. So tuning into the wisdom of the seasons and allowing your own intuition to see, what does that mean for you? What does that mean for you? How are you connecting into that? So you can explore deeply. I have a separate website, melissalaborsky.com, that takes a super deep dive into Chinese 5-element theory and the understanding of the harmonic relationship between human beings and the earth and the seasons and literally the function of every organ in our body. Another way of seeing is through the Celtic wisdom and looking at the Celtic Wheel, which is something I have in this space. So I'm looking at all the different celebrations, and both of those, and of course there are many other ways of seeing, support us in being able to have a framework for building the relationship. But again, we don't want to get stuck on that. It can be supportive. So really feeling in if you do feel called to explore something, that you're exploring it from an intuitive place. You're exploring it from an intuitive place because your intuition is the highest guide. So the best learning is done by you just being present and feeling into where you're drawn to. If you're going on a walk, just seeing what's catching your attention. Even if it's freezing cold, observing nature through your window is super powerful, and seeing like what is happening out there. The wisdom of the earth is constantly being revealed to us. And, we go about our lives and we've been able to cultivate a way to keep ourselves separated, which is necessary for the evolution of human beings. We've got cars, we've got these wonderful air-conditioned and heated houses. All these things have been necessary, but of course we need that connection, literally. That's part of this expansion and evolution, is connection to all that is beyond and all that is here. So really, 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 really paying attention to your own connection and your own feeling, and your energy is going to be constantly informing you. Sambara itike takataya takatanyara tike takataya nambara tiki takatataya sandya huaye dai. Sambai. So yes, allowing yourself to feel into the cycle of the seasons and become aware of how you feel different. We're in the depths of winter right now, so you may be feeling more drawn inward. You may be feeling called to be in a more quiet place, called to reflection. You may feel tired because your body is seeking rest, because in alignment with nature, most of nature is in a state of rest. However, when you do that deep level, subtle tuning in, there are shifts that are happening that are very, very visible. And this is really what we're being called to. Yes, we need to see the visible level shifts. And then there's shifts that are more subtle, but they're still very much energetically there for us. So these are things that the Celtic calendar and the 5 elements and also looking at the lunar cycle will help us to see. So we are going to be shifting into spring with the Lunar New Year on February 10th. It's a doozy, it's a big one, because we're entering the year of the Wood Dragon. So even like those energies, the element that is impacting Earth is shifting. We're going to feel that. We're going to feel that. We're going from water to wood, water to wood, which is actually what's happening anyway, actually in seasonal alignment. So we have from the Chinese perspective, we have this energetic alignment that the frequency for the past 2 years has been water. The frequency for the next 2 years will be wood. So water has to do with moving like water. Everything that you think about when you think about water is water, right? The depths of it, the power of it, everything that water can hold. Water is life. Energetically, it's connected with the season of winter. When we think about winter, it's what I was just kind of speaking into. It is a time of deep stillness, deep reflection. It's not that things aren't happening, but they're happening deep below the surface. And also in the body, it's connected with our whole life force energy, with our kidney and our bladder. So our whole foundational energy and our genetics and our inheritance. So we've been diving deep for 2 years, overarching and remembering, like I'm speaking to one thing. And there's so many different elements that come together to create this right now moment. Don't be overwhelmed by that. Just follow this thread and then we'll take a step back. So diving into water for the past 2 years, and then we're moving into wood, and this aligns with the Lunar New Year, which is the big early beginnings of spring. Every season has a deep yin beginning and a very visible, expressive yang beginning and cycle. So the yin quiet openings of spring begin for us this year, because it's always shifting with the lunar calendar, on February 10th. And we're moving into wood, which is spring element. So what does that mean for us? So we've been doing this deep level, restorative, nurturing time here on Earth. And now it's moving into this growing phase. It's a growing phase. It's a breakthrough phase. It's a growing phase. It's a creative expression phase. So being in the wood element, wood's like, this is our time. It is time to grow, just like spring. So when you think about that, what we call, in March, when we call spring, that's in the solar calendar. In the lunar calendar, it's because that time between February and March, there's so much that has to happen. And what I'm really inviting you into, because the visible stuff is pretty obvious, right? Most of us are aware when, everything is in bloom and the animals are making babies. And suddenly there are all these bugs and, everything, and you feel it. It's very, very obvious when the visible level of spring. Can you feel into that quiet level of spring, the invisible level of spring that's coming in? These are the kinds of things that I'm really encouraging you to just be aware of how things start to feel differently after February 10th for you. Woo! More light language wants to come through, but I want to finish this thought. So how things start to feel different as we approach February 10th and beyond, moving into the visible level spring. What starts waking up in you? What starts wanting to be seen, wanting to be cleared so that you can grow? What are you called to express? What are you called to create? And as always, this is going to apply to every aspect of your life. So we have the alignment on Earth, which always happens when we enter the Lunar New Year, but we got double time because the element of wood will be part of this 5-element consciousness way of understanding the next 2 years. So that has to do with the zodiac calendar. So, okay, I want to take a step back before I open into light language. I know I've been speaking into some very specific concepts. Again, I really want to go back to say that this is about you intuiting. We are all unique beings, energetically, body, mind, and spirit. We all have a unique purpose for our alignment here on earth. We all are here for a different mission. So how we connect to everything I'm talking about is going to be different. So I could be laid up in the depths of spring when everything around me is growing. And if I have some deeper level work to do that might be kind of water, kidney stuff, I might be exhausted. I might be like, I'm not taking action. It's not my time. I may need to hibernate longer. And I need to honor that over what I see and feel happening around me. So this is a huge message from the wisdom of the earth plane, is that yes, we need to see and connect to these things and be aware, because they really do inform us. They are embedded in every aspect of our being. They are woven into the wisdom of all aspects of earth and the seasons and their expression. And it's about how you relate and connect to it and really honoring that. And it can give you great wisdom, as you start to tune in, and it, like, wow, it's a summer day and it feels like spring, or to me on the inside. So that's something that is, again, just about that alignment. We're aligned beings, and we're aligned in all these different energies. So becoming aware of the different energies, becoming aware of your own energy, and knowing how, like, oh, I get to discern. I get to choose how I want to tune into this. And is it like, yeah, I'm so aligned. I know I am. It's almost springtime. I'm growing. I'm creating. Let's go. Let's do this. Or is it like, nope, I'm the groundhog who saw its shadow. I think that's what it would be. And I need to go back into my den for a while. We're not done yet. We're not done yet. So really tuning in and allowing yourself to feel that connection. Like we're being held and nurtured and supported and guided in all these different ways, but it's never like forcing you. That is super key. You're gonna feel pushed and nudged in lovingly in different ways. Now I want to take that back a little bit, because one of the things that I've been feeling into is it does feel like we're in like a state of rebirth. So you're gonna feel these energies that are around you that feel like contractions or pressure, but it's really maternal, loving, like, all right. And it's meant to guide and support you, and it's meant to make you wake up and align. And that can mean different things that need to clear out, different things that you need to see and connect to so that you can move forward. So yeah, so again, it's like, it's a loving nudge. All right, let's open back up. Somebody take atakai nai atakai wa tanyate. Somebody take ala te wanani ala take ala wate. Sandaya. Sanyara tanya vanake tai handara tuntya kai takai sakatanya ratake takantya take takantya take takatyantarai. Padan sike takayan sakatai sikatea sakantai sakatea takata. Tiara tanya takai. Siana Hawaii. Sanjai Tseke Atai Osandai Saparatiki Nai Undai Nanaji. Cultivating a relationship with growing things, whether you are indoor houseplants or a whole garden or just a relationship with the trees that surround you and the plants that might already surround you, just building a relationship and a connection, being aware, just shifting your perspective and realizing that everything is there to guide and support you. Sanjai, Sanjai Kete Aratsikete Namarate, Tantiake, Tantike, Gair Tatanyama. Thank you for joining me today, and subscribe to Well of Being to stay tuned.